Yeehaw.
Podcast number 5.
That Bullspittin podcast, y'all. Yeah.
No, it's not a cowboy hat.
I mean, which historical event fascinates you the most? I mean, I think everyone wants to say World War II, right? You know, maybe something outside of that, you know?
I'm fascinated by how much drugs Adolf Hitler was on, and he's tweaking out in front of everybody. Nobody talks about how this guy was a crackhead. He was doing something, but there's videos of this guy like rocking back and forth, just tweaking out like crazy.
I heard that they used to give meth, PCP, to the Nazi soldiers.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of Vietnam with the opium. Everyone, all the American soldiers were on opium in Vietnam. I mean, I'm sure we would too, being in that situation.
Well, I heard that they smoked a lot of weed and shit. I worked for one Vietnam vet. Yeah, and he would tell me, he's like, yeah, they would have weed out there, beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the soldiers would be like,
me love you long time.
oh, yeah.
They had a lot of hookers, too.
Hell, yeah.
My dad told me a bunch of stories about the women over there. That's
That
like the
sounds
part he
like-
misses the most.
I think, too, because, like, back then, they gave them beer, you had weed, and then you had hookers, dude. I mean, like, but the only thing that sucks is that you could die at any minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like me personally,
So how are you going to hold that against them?
yeah.
Let them do what the hell they want.
Well, they pretty much did.
Well, you need them to be reliable.
Because, like, nobody wanted to be there. They all got drafted there, man. Nobody volunteered for that shit.
Yeah, I know.
And if you did, you were like a fucking dumbass.
Who do you think went first in the draft? They're like,
All
number
the-
one pick. They show like highlight reels
Uh-huh.
of the guy doing the training course. Top skills, knife skills.
Knife skills and running. I just know that all the poor people got drafted.
What?
Yeah. All the poor people, all the unwanted
I don't
people.
think they were looking at people's incomes. It was a lottery-based system.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, Muhammad Ali got drafted
Oh, I think that was a political move.
to get him to shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
let's
for
go
sure.
get this guy killed.
For sure.
You think so?
100%.
Yeah, maybe.
100%.
Yeah, let's go send this fucking guy over. Get
Yeah.
him
This
killed.
loudmouth out there. Like, because, I mean, otherwise.
We need a white man in the ring to be champion.
Exactly. Because the only way that I would believe that it was random, somebody wanted him, you know, to shut up already. Polarizing character all the way around.
Which celebrities were drafted at the Vietnam War? Yeah, Muhammad Ali's like the most famous one. You have a point there. Could have been that it was a political move.
I think it was for sure. And then if you even wanted to go a little bit broader with it, how come you didn't hear about any other heavyweight contenders or whatever getting drafted either, you know?
What would happen today if there was a draft? Do you think they would do the same political things? Try to get rid of people in our society who are causing distractions to political agendas?
Yeah, I think to some level it wouldn't be so blatant, but yeah, I would think they would try to do something. The people that in this climate, I would say people that are like kind of like considering the Democrats are in office. I would say people that are on the far right. Like, okay, for instance, I'll just say the whole Trump thing.
They'd send Trump.
They would send Trump, or they wouldn't send Trump. I mean, he's too old for crying out loud. But anybody that was like that had a big platform, had a big following, that was also like on the Republican side of things, they would probably send them off to war. But also that person might even embrace it too. So,
Who are we going to war with next?
oh, China for sure. The way things are looking, I'm not very optimistic about it.
There's just so many of them.
I think it was a couple years ago, and they already had more ships than our Navy, and that's scary. All the videos that I've watched says that come around 2030, that's when the war is really going to happen. They're going to want to take Taiwan. We're going to have to meet them out there with all our buddies, Japan, Philippines, all of our allies that are close by pretty much. They're going to try to take Taiwan, specifically Taiwan, because there's supposed to be some kind of underneath the sea floor, pretty much like wiring and cables for the internet. And if they can seize that, then they can pretty much control like all communications.
Who put those cables there?
I'll have to do more research about
Imagine
that.
having that job. I'm
Yeah, I
an
know,
electrician. I run wires. Where?
At the bottom of the sea.
Under
China
the
Sea.
ocean.
Yeah.
You think we'll reach a point where our robots are fighting their robots?
It would be our people against their robots, I think, because they have all the leverage. They have...
And they're bulletproof? You just have to blow their legs off. They're useless after that.
I think at a certain point, it's going to be like, who's got the most EMP bombs?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Then when it comes to that, then if we're going to just go, do boots on the ground, they got more people than us, so we're fucked there.
They're crafty little bastards. I've worked with a lot of Vietnamese and Chinese guys on airplanes, and they always figure out crazy little ways to do things that you wouldn't even think of. And then they have real tight little groups. Now, they're talking amongst each other, and they just do their job. They are competitive to Mexicans. You think Mexicans work hard and efficiently? Get a group of Vietnamese or Chinese guys without the music and barbecue and beer,
Yeah.
and they're going to get shit done.
Mexicans, man, I've worked side by side with them, and man, their work ethic is unreal. Only thing is, they like to...
That's part of it. That's that work fuel.
Drink all night, get up and do it again tomorrow.
Gasoline in the tank.
I've always admired Asians for their work ethic. Like, they're just like gluttons for pain or something.
No, it's that they have a high pain tolerance. It doesn't bother them. They have that internal drive. If you're not working, you're bored. You got to be getting something done. But the amount of money they work for, I think the concept in America is if you're going to perform a certain task, you have to be compensated this amount. And over there, they're just not used to making that amount. And they'll come over here and do crazy shit and make just a little bit of money. And they'll figure out how to survive on that. It's nuts. Have you ever heard how long it takes a group of Mexicans to build a... Oh, they're done. All they need is a radio and some beer and let them go to lunch break. You know Mexicans don't work at NASA. When they say launch, they all leave.
Hey, we're going to launch.
3, 2, 1... launch. They're like, where did everybody go?
I think at some point, every guy is considered wanting to be a porn star. Even though, like, you know, you need the necessary equipment, you know, which most guys don't have.
It's a hard job.
I wonder what a life as a male porn star is like. I saw this short, and this guy was talking about how the Japanese porn industry, there's a high demand for male porn stars right now for them. And I think it was like there's like 70 to like 5,000 women or something like that, or 500. I can't remember. It's ridiculous.
Doesn't sound like a lot.
They were saying these guys are like having to do like 21 videos a week. That's how many videos they need to shoot. How much
to
work
keep up
there is.
with the demand.
Yes. There's even like old guys, like porn stars that have to come out of retirement just to be like, hey, guy, hey, we'll pay you this much. Hey, man, I'm retired. I already got my pension. Hey,
My dick's on break.
these guys are working overtime, man. Do you think 21 movies a week is a lot of work?
That's 3 a day, 7 days a week. And you got to go
day?
at least 20 to 30 minutes at a time. I think I'd get really bored really fast. Maybe. I don't know. Let's say you wake up and you get that morning wood taken care of. Go and have breakfast. Go play a round of golf around lunchtime. Let's work for an hour. And then go out and have dinner. And then that evening, knock out a third session. Go to bed.
But there's like no days off, right? Unless you wanted to take like 1 day off, 2 days off maybe, but then you would have to, so let's say you'd have to do maybe one day you have to do 6 of them.
No, that's just not possible because by the time you're done, after you do it so many times in a day, at the end, your junk is like...
It's all smoking.
There's something burning in here. What's that noise? You're overworking the engine.
Be like, y'all having a barbecue? Huh? You got some weenies roasting?
Your junk is just like, oh God, not again. It starts protesting. I can't take all these hours.
Your junk has its own robe and its own mug of coffee that it needs to get in the morning.
It sits in its own chair with the name on it.
All right.
It's not worth the money.
Rolling over from one sack to the other and like,
They have to like CGI your nuts to make them look bigger because they're just so deflated. The doctor's like, dude, you are not producing enough to keep this going.
I'll be like, okay, I'll tell you what. Take a part from this one, put it in this one. Because you know that like a lot of those scenes have to be looped, right? So that way, if you like bust early, they're like, okay, you know it's fine. We'll just loop it. I've seen parts where it was like, hey, I've saw that before. I've seen that before. And they're just looping it. And then it's kind of like after that loop, after you see it again 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, and then, you know, like it just goes to the money shot after that. Like, you know, they were looping that shit. And this guy like busted early. And then you got other shots of just the face of the girl, like, oh. And she could have just been doing that on her own without this guy even doing anything. Like, just go ahead and just kind of like jump up and down right here, or just kind of rock back and forth. Act like he's really giving you the business, all right? He's not here right now, but he is giving you the business.
How many porn stars have worked together that they didn't like each other personally, but they were like, you guys sign contracts, you're gonna work together, and you're like, oh god, I gotta work with this person. Oh my god, she's so annoying. Just pretend you're into it.
Dude, I bet you that some of the best porn scenes were created with porn stars that did not like each other.
Hatred.
Pure hate fuck. Just like, ugh. He's all getting into it. Yeah.
Trying to stab him to death. Just pretend it's a knife.
And she's over here talking shit, and like,
I'm going to bust one of those intestines.
The more shit she's talking, he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna make you just go, ah.
I'm going to bust a hole in it and give you sepsis.
I guess that just goes to show you how high the demand is for porn out there. I mean, I thought it was bad in the US, but
how many porn stars have gotten injured on the job? Threw their back out, twisted an ankle, chick falls off the bed, breaks her arm, workplace injuries. And how is that? Do they have workman's comp?
Guarantee you that the rates for the injuries substantially go up if it's going to be in any kind of wet environment. So like
it's always a wet environment.
I'm talking like a hot tub, shower scene, getting out and slipping and twisting your ACL or whatever, man.
Dude like jizzes on the floor and she steps in it and wipes out like she's in a Walmart aisle 3 where some kid spilled apple juice and the mom pretended she didn't see it. Some old lady comes by and slips on it.
Can you imagine like being one of those porn stars and you like twist your knee and you just completely tear your ACL and you're like, workers' comp as you go down?
They're like, I'm going to pull a Kobe and I'm going to go ahead and get these free throws done with the torn ACL. We need that money shot, baby.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and finish. We'll edit out your swollen leg.
I guarantee you that there's probably no workers' comp for these porn stars.
You think they have health insurance?
No. They'll probably be like, you know what? You're good. Hey, they're like, Jack, you're good. Just here's a bump. And he's like, all right, I'm back in the game. You know, like
what's the doctor that checks your butthole and your intestines and stuff? That's a
proctologist.
Proctologist? Do you think they see a proctologist more often than normal from chicks who are like taking it in the B?
You know what? I was probably for sure. I mean, like if you're smart, you want to be, I don't know. I guess you want to be kind of in control of your moneymaker. Where I work, I think somebody wears diapers. Like straight up Depends, bro. I was washing my hands. I was throwing away my paper towel. And I was like, what the fuck is that smell? And I smelled the trash can. I was like, no, that smells like a bedpan. And I looked in there, dude, there was like these rolled up fucking Depends in there, like 3 or 4 of them. And I was like, that's fucking gross. But I was thinking porn stars, right? Do you think it's possible when they get older, they start wearing those Depends? And
like their sphincter gives out.
Yeah.
Because it's taken abuse.
Yeah. Like a pounding.
What age do you think it gives out? They have to have like surgery to fix it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to cut out some of the band here because it's useless now. We got to tighten it back up.
Yeah. We're like, or you can just wear Depends and no one will notice. So I think they're going to be walking around with diapers at 50.
If you go down on like a 75-year-old lady, you know what it tastes like?
What?
Depends.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one, guy. If you could have one talent where you were like the best at it, what would it be? Like one for me, I'll say one for me was I wish I could sing. Because if I had the ability to sing, dude, I would have been like in a band and shit, and I would have like had the whole rock star lifestyle that I wanted at one point. Yeah, I can't sing to save my life, so.
Well, just from seeing the way extremely talented people, some of the routes their life takes over time and seeing their mental state over the years, sometimes I look at that and I say, man, I'm glad I didn't go down that route with anything like that. Which being completely average and normal isn't that fun either. You need to have something that makes you enough money to take care of your family and make sure everybody's crazy comfortable, but not enough to where you're ruining your family's lives and your kids are just doing crazy shit and your wife is dying of a botched plastic surgery or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that also is decision-making stuff. But the one skill that I wish I could have that I didn't have to work at was not letting anything bother me or get under my skin in any situation, because that makes you a psychological superhero. And you can just dominate anything you do because nothing bothers you.
Be like Batman.
And you just run over everybody because everybody's so busy being distracted by their emotions and the way they feel. It gets in the way of what they need to be focused on and doing. Some people can go on weeks-long tangents just exploring their feelings when they have to put that shit away and just stay focused on what they're supposed to be doing. Some people don't get out of bed because of the way they're feeling. They feel like shit, and they allow their feelings to control their actions. So 20 years later, they're still broke. They have nothing going for themselves. Their family's struggling. They're a shit dad or shit mom. And all they had to do 20 years ago was master their emotions, put that shit away, focus on trying to accomplish things, and they'd be in a much better position. And I think society's just going down that route, especially with the internet teaching that it's okay to embrace your feelings and allow your feelings to control your actions. There is no data, there is no evidence that shows acting on emotion is good for your life long term. And there is overwhelming evidence, if you just watch interviews with very successful people who have it together and they have great lives, all of them are preaching the philosophy of shit happens, put those emotions away. If you got to go see a therapist or whatever, do that, but don't allow that shit to get in the way of what you're trying to do. Fucking work, get shit done. That's all that matters.
Well, since we're going in that direction, what's some of the best advice that you've received from somebody, and who gave that advice to you?
We all like to think we can predict the future and what it's going to take to accomplish something. Grant Cardone has a 10x rule, and something he said was, when you're trying to accomplish something, no matter how much work you think it's going to take, multiply that times 10 in your mind, and you will be closer to a realistic estimate as to what it's going to take. So if I'm trying to do something and I'm like, this is going to take 3 days to do, in my mind, I automatically readjust and I say, this is probably going to take 30 days, and I get it done in like 20. That's if you're not going just ham Elon Musk work ethic on it. You have a life that needs to remain a little bit balanced, so you can only work on it 2 or 3 hours a day. Realistically, 20 days. If you could do 18, 19, 20-hour days, you don't have a normal job and you have the time, maybe 3 days. Some of the best advice, I used to get the advice that life's a bitch and then you die. As I get older, I realize that that's only true for people who aren't willing to be more self-disciplined than the average person. If you are more self-disciplined and you're willing to have a crazy work ethic to where people just look at you and they're just like, how the fuck do you do that? Then I believe life's going to be easier. Life is incredibly savage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can learn to be more savage than life is, then life's going to become easy. Life is hard if you live it the easy way. If you want to be lazy and take shortcuts and live by short-term gratification, life is constantly going to be punching you in the face. And when you wonder why, you just have to reflect on what your actions have been and what you have been doing. But life is easy if you live it the hard way. So if you wake up every day, today's going to be hard. I accept that. Today's going to be hard. I got to get up at 3 a.m. today because I have to get this shit done before I go to work at 5. If you do that consistently for a long enough time, you're going to wake up one day. Paying your bills is going to be as easy as snapping your fingers. You want to put your child in private school that's expensive because you're sick of all the bullshit at public schools, you can snap your fingers and make that happen. Your car breaks down. There's some kind of crazy manufacturer defect, and you don't want to go through the time of putting it in shop, getting it fixed. You can easily just put that car up for sale, and while it's selling, go to the dealership and just pay cash for another car. If you were just to hyper-focus on what needs to be done, hyper-focus on your basic chores day to day, get that done as fast as you can. Create as much time as you possibly can to focus on goals that are going to get you ahead in life. and then just push through, plow through the boredom, plow through the inconvenience of working your ass off. Your mind will get used to it and it will become easy. If you remain consistent over a long enough period of time, you will wake up one day and your life will be light years ahead of everybody else's. And the problems that people struggle with on a day-to-day basis, it will be a minor inconvenience to you that you can get fixed with a single phone call. You can log into your bank account, transfer some money, problem solved. I can go back to focusing on the next thing I need to do. They don't teach this in school. And a lot of millionaires aren't going to take the time to sit here and explain this to you because they're busy trying to do other shit. They're busy trying to move forward and get things done. That is the best advice I've ever gotten. Life is hard if you live it the easy way, and it's easy if you live it the hard way.
I like that.
What about you? What is the best piece of life advice you've ever received?
Pretty much like not wear your heart on your sleeve. You can't control what people say or what they think about you, but you have the power to react or not react. And I had this one friend when I was in the military. He taught me, because I used to be very reactive. I wanted my respect. Kind of like LeBron. I was like, I want my damn respect, you know?
Oh, yeah. LeBron is a good example of what not to do when it comes to criticism.
And KD is another one, too. Like, real sensitive, you know?
Oh, yeah. When Peyton Manning was making fun of him at the award show, dude, I was like screaming, laughing. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
He was so butthurt.
And I think I kind of grew up with that mentality of being real sensitive or being just kind of wearing my heart on my sleeve, being reactive to what people would say to me.
I got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back. What's with that?
When I found out that I could just like disconnect, I think it was David D'Angelo that said that when he was like, just disconnect the buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like when it comes to women, because they would test you and they'll say things to you to get a reaction out of you. And when I kind of got that in my head, I was like, yeah, I don't have to react. So it's like when people tell me stuff now that's kind of like, it can be like real backhanded or it can be kind of disrespectful. I'll just give myself like 3 seconds or 5 seconds to like respond, and I'll be like, you know, that's cute. Or I can just like, you know, if they say something that's offensive or, you know, they're trying to like, you know, make fun of me or something, I'll just double down and be like, oh yeah, dude, I'm a real big, you know, douchebag or something or whatever. Yeah. I'll just laugh along with it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, in the end, like, you're not going to get a rise out of me. I think once I learned that, how to do that and just kind of not serve my heart up on a silver platter to people, that gave me a lot of power in who I am now.
The biggest thing I've learned is when people make offhanded comments that kind of just take you off base. You're like, where's this coming from? If you can switch your mind from being focused on yourself, why did they say this about me? What am I doing? And instead say what's going on in their mind that they would say something like that, and you could take the focus away from yourself. I mean, you have to be realistic about it. Sometimes people make comments that are true, and you have to self-reflect and see if there's any accuracy to it. But you can't live your whole life by what other people think. But sometimes when people make offhanded comments like that, look at their temperament. What are they going through in their life? Maybe they're dealing with some stress and they didn't mean it. And if you could just try to put yourself in their shoes, you can say, okay, I understand. They didn't mean anything personal by this. They just didn't think long enough before they opened their mouth. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and take it personally, because that would lower my intelligence, because I'm not smart enough to understand. It's not about me. Whatever's going on in their brain, it's about that.
I've had a couple instances where like somebody was like still trying to crack jokes or bust on me or whatever. And I would just
bust on you.
Yeah. Bust my chops, you know?
As long as they're not busting on your chops.
Right. And, you know, I would just kind of like, you know, whatever, just kind of deflect it or whatever. But if they kept going at it, I'd just look at them and be like, are you okay? Who hurt you? You know, like, do you need to talk to somebody, or what's going on with you? You know?
A lot of these YouTube videos are teaching people that it's okay to be more emotional. I saw a video of this dude. It showed him real skinny, and then like it had this real dramatic music, and then it cuts to him in the gym, and he's all yoked out, like super built and everything. And then the subtitles are all, "Who hurt this man?" And they're trying to make it look like that this guy got his feelings hurt so bad that he went out of his way to work to make sure, that he's doing this all from an emotional standpoint. And I know for a fact that people who put that much dedication and work into improving themselves, it's emotional based a little bit, but then it comes down to straight up discipline. For the most part, not emotionally driven. If you try to use emotions to drive your discipline, you're going to run out of fuel.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Emotions are very, very powerful gasoline, but it burns out quick.
Yeah. What is the worst advice you've ever received that you're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard? Like, don't give advice to anybody.
Oh, I can't really say it was advice, but just from what I've like learned from other people's behaviors, waiting for like the perfect moment to do something, it like never comes. So I know somebody that will say that they're just going to put it in God's hands, which I get. You should definitely pray for the things you want in life. I believe that you also have to take action to move towards those things. If you're just doing that without, like, if you're just doing the prayer thing, but without actually taking action or, making any steps toward that, it's kind of like setting goals without a plan to get there. Yeah, just get off your ass and do something about it or move towards it. You definitely have to put some action into it as well.
Action is everything.
What about you? What's the worst advice you've ever received from somebody?
Similar to what David Goggins said that somebody told him, I've kind of been told the same thing when it comes to working on airplanes. We had an all hands meeting. The company was experiencing a lot of issues, and I had a lot of solutions to the issues already. It was common sense. Leadership had their heads up their ass. So I didn't really go out of my way to try to bring it up to leadership privately because I was busy. I had work to accomplish. They were measuring your performance there, so I couldn't just take a time out. So during the all hands meeting, they said, anybody can speak up about anything. We are trying to work together as a team to get these issues solved. Anywhere you work, you're going to have a lot of people talking shit on the side. Oh, this company sucks, man. But they don't want to do anything to fix it. So I had been at the company a few months, and I spoke up. And I said, well, here are some of the issues. Here's what a lot of people complain about. Just like making YouTube videos. Listen to the comments. See what people were saying. Make improvements, right? For the most part. I had stated I spoke up. I exposed myself, made myself stand out from the group. So after the meeting, when we were all taking a break, people were making comments to me. You should just learn to blend in, stay under the radar. You're next on the chopping block now. I ended up being one of the last people there on that project. I thought that was stupid advice, and I kind of looked at the guy. This is why you are 55 years old. You've been doing this for 25 to 30 years, and you are no further ahead now than where you were when you started. That is not my game plan. I'm here to, every job I get in a better and better position because I learned something from the last one. This whole staying under the radar, don't draw attention to yourself, that's idiotic advice. And if you go against that advice, you have to have the balls to do it. You have to be, this word is so overrated, brave. It's common sense. It means you're not a fucking idiot. Don't stay under the radar. If there's something wrong, be smart enough to understand how to address the issue in an intelligent manner. Don't sound like a fucking idiot when you do it. Like they say, if you argue with an idiot, people who see you arguing are not going to know who the idiot is. You have to be smart enough to know how to address it. But this whole staying under the radar thing, if you do that your whole life, you're going to end not far from where you started over the course of 20, 30, 40 years. You have to learn to take risks and speak up. Take the risk of people looking at you, thinking that you think you're smarter than other people and that you just need to shut the fuck up and know your place. You need to ignore all that stuff. And if you ignore it, you will slowly rise through the ranks and separate yourself from people who have that different mindset of just stay under the radar. People who stay under the radar, guess what else stays under the radar? Their money, their income, their life, the quality of their life. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, but you also have to be intelligent and educated enough to have communication skills to know how to intelligently speak up, learn who your audience is, and learn how to engage with them to where they're going to be receptive to you and they're going to take you seriously. The more practice you get doing that, the more attention you're going to get from the right people. And the more they're going to see that you have the correct mindset to be in their circle, and you will slowly move up in your career and in your life and separate yourself from the people who think that staying under the radar is the smart thing to do. Maybe in prison, but out in a free society where you can elevate yourself, it's not the smartest thing to do. And most people don't do it because they're afraid of being criticized. You cannot, and I guess that's the whole point of the advice. Stay away from criticism. Dude, criticism gets attention. The most famous people on YouTube are often the most criticized.
You know, yeah, when that guy told you, you know, just stay stay under the radar and everything. No, all I'm hearing from him is, "Hey, buddy, slow down. You're running a little too fast for us. All right." He's like, "You're outshining me here, and I don't like it."
And by the way, that advice, the advice I just gave, not the advice of staying under the radar, but the advice of not staying under the radar, that has helped my life so tremendously. I have a job you can only dream of having. I'm in a position in my life that most people only dream of, other than being worth $50 or $100 million.
So now that we're talking about this thing, I know that I said I would like to have the talent to sing, but you know, the more I get older, the more I realize that I would like to have the power to negotiate like a fucking champ. Because negotiating is life.
You just nailed it.
Yeah, negotiating is life. And I'm realizing that slowly as I get closer to 40. Yeah, negotiating your salary, negotiating your job, negotiating this sale, negotiating who you want to date, you know, who you're trying to get in a relationship.
Everything is a negotiation.
Yeah. Everything is a negotiation. And if you are always coming out on top of negotiations, you're a winner in life.
You're never going to be in the middle of a negotiation. You're either going to be on the top or bottom every single time.
And you know who's a badass negotiator is, have you ever seen Batman Returns?
Okay.
Max Schreck, Christopher Walken's character.
I need to watch it again.
Dude, he
is Arnold, Mr. Freeze.
No. This is the
Batman
good one.
Returns.
This is the one with Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito's Penguin,
okay,
Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer. That one. And you got Christopher Walken in there. Dude, he's like the ultimate negotiator because he's like a filthy businessman. Like,
that is some good advice.
He is like, he's such a good villain in there and he's such a good character. I was like, dude, I want to negotiate like this motherfucker because he's always like at the end of the movie, Penguin wants to take his son and kill him, right? Like take him down to the sewers and kill him. And he was like, hold on. Because really he's only doing it to get at Max, right? Because he's like, you bastard, like we were partners in this shit and you make me look bad. This is how I'm gonna make you suffer by watching your son die. And he was like, hold on. He's like, don't take Chip. He's like, take me. He's like, come on, ask yourself, who do you really want to see just die? You know, like a slow death and like just up to their eyes and like boiling acid. You know, like not Chip. He's like, you want to see me die like that? And he was like, you're right. And then he like, you know, he does the trade off. You know what I mean? But I was like, throughout the movie. He's negotiating like that, and I fucking love it, dude.
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Because this is related to another great piece of advice I received.
Mm-hmm.
What is another word for negotiation? Overall, what is negotiation?
It is...
starts with an S. It's not no complicated word or nothing. It's just a simple concept.
It's like smoothing someone over. It's persuasion. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's persuading.
But it all comes down to one word. Selling.
Oh, yeah.
Salesman.
Selling, yeah.
So they say the number one skill you need to be successful in any area of life, you could be chopping wood. If you can learn how to be a great salesman, you'll never be in need of anything because everything you do is a sales. When you're trying to take a girl out on a date, you're selling yourself. Every part of sales is a strategy. And on 99% of people, 99% of situations, the same strategy overall works for everything. And it comes down to persuasion and negotiation and communicating the pros and cons to your target. And I don't mean target in a negative way, like you're trying to take advantage of people. In order to get anything you want in life, you have to get it from another person. You have to convince that person how to give it to you, either by I will exchange this thing, whether it's money or something, I will exchange this thing to you in order for you to give me this. And they might say, well, that exchange isn't fair. How about you exchange this? It comes down to sales and negotiation.
Yeah.
If you can learn sales like an expert, you will never have to worry about the outcome of your life. Sales is everything. If you work at Walmart and they say, we need you to be polite to our customers, they're teaching you sales. They're teaching you persuasion. You're persuading the customers to like your store because of how you're treating them. I am going to give you this value because I want your value in return. The value of you coming to my store and shopping, that's the value I want in return for the value I'm giving you by me being polite to you and making sure all your needs are met. Have you ever gotten bad customer service at Chick-fil-A? I mean, 99% of the time,
No.
you would think McDonald's is number one.
Yeah.
It's Chick-fil-A. Every time you order something from Chick-fil-A, they always say, my pleasure. Porn style, my pleasure. You want me to handle your meat? Customer service comes first in their business model. If the customers feel that they are respected when they get there, if you do it enough times, the customers know when I go to Chick-fil-A, 99.9% of the time, I'm not going to have any issues with the customer service.
Yeah.
It's always on point.
It's always going to be a home run. Yeah.
You walk up to that counter, they break their necks to get to you to see what you want because they understand the importance of their business model. Customer service comes first through sales, through selling good customer service, and the money and the value you want from your customers comes in return. If the zombie apocalypse broke out and you were the only one in your family that didn't get infected,
Mm-hmm.
and you love your family,
Yes.
how easy
Would it be to kill
would
him?
would you be able to kill your family members because they're trying to kill you? And could you do it in a horrible, gruesome way?
You know, I never thought about that. Yeah, and I mean, if I had to, I'm gonna do it. Survival instincts, I think, are gonna kick in for me. At some point, it might take a little while. Like it might take me like okay, I'm about to die. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need to just do this real quick, and I can cry later. You know,
They
what I mean?
couldn't
Like,
infect you, but they'll kill you. You'll die from them injuring you.
oh fuck no, I have to kill. I would have to kill him.
Like you're gonna die a painful death.
Yeah, no, I would have to kill him.
Okay. What if, you know, in the movies, they look like zombies and they act like zombies all weird?
Yeah.
What if they still looked normal, but they were zombies? But they couldn't talk or anything, but they still looked like their normal selves. They had their normal color. They walked normally, but they were no emotion to them, and they're just out to murder you. They're murdering machines.
Well, they're still.
But this time you're not. It's easier to kill a zombie because you can visually look at them and say, this is not a human. I'm going to kill this thing.
Right.
But they look like a human. It looks like your mother that you love dearly. And she still has that sweet look on her face. But she's out to kill you.
I'll do you one better. What if they still look the same and they still sound the same and they're even telling you like, no, I love you, come here. But every time they get near you, they have like a knife and then they're like slashing you as they get closer.
Oh, they don't have a knife. They're trying to claw you and bite you.
Okay, well then let's say that they're doing that or they have the knife. But they don't look like zombies. It's just they've lost their fucking mind. Could you still do it?
What if when you tried killing them, they got this look in their eyes and they're like, no, why are you doing this to me? I love you. No. But they're just faking it the whole time.
Yeah.
They just made it worse for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, could you do it then? And
I don't know.
And all you
like,
have
I'm
is
thinking about my brother, right? One of my brothers is like one of my best friends. I love him to death. And now I have to kill him. What if they could fight back and they have fighting skills?
Yeah. Then I'm probably, I don't know.
Dude, you're just not going to make it.
What if
That'd
they're
be
like,
a good zombie movie.
okay, here's another one. What if they're zombies, right? And all like, let's say, how many family members you got? You got a lot, right? Let's say you're having a barbecue and all of a sudden they just like all look at you in unison and then they're like, get him. And you're just like, funny guys.
What if like one of your family, your cousin forgot to bring the chicken or the brisket or the fajitas, and then it sparks the hunger.
Oh,
and they're
shit.
like, we need meat on this grill.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck? He's got ribs.
What if there was like, you could either, like everyone's coming after you now, and let's just say they're zombies, just to kind of put your mind at ease, but they're coming at you pretty quick, right? And your options are a baseball bat, a chainsaw, or a flamethrower. What do you?
And you can only use one?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. It depends on where it is. If you're in the middle of a park,
Like if you're in the middle of the field and then there's one on this side, one on this side, one behind you, but they're all the equal distance apart.
well, I'm gonna use the one that puts distance between me and my aggressor.
So the flamethrower.
Okay, let's say we're in my house. I'm not gonna use a flamethrower in my house because my house is gonna stink. Number one, then I got to remove the body out of the house. It's gonna be gruesome,
Yeah.
and then you just won't be able to get that smell out. It's nasty. It's all in the grout. The melted flesh in the grout. That's just disgusting. In the middle of a park, no problem. I'm not using a chainsaw in my house either. That's going to be a serious cleanup detail
Yeah.
because that chainsaw is just going to blow shit everywhere. What was the third weapon? A bat? Dude, a bat's going to be messy too. But I'm going to have to American Psycho it. I'm going to do the little dance and then get the bat and go to town with that look on my face.
I think a bat would be the least messy out of all those.
You don't have to smash their melon. You just hit them in their organs, have some internal bleeding, plug their butthole, keep the blood from them. It would be really hard to have to do it, but it would depend. Do I have a future? I think that survival instinct takes over anything,
Yeah.
and you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What if all of a sudden we couldn't get food anymore and you had to eat Sparkles, which is your favorite dog that you love in the world, and you had to eat him? Would you preserve his fur so that you have something to remember him by? Or would you just like throw it away in the trash when you're done? Would you be able to eat him?
I don't think I could. I really don't. Like, unless he died first, then I would do
Or
it.
the alternate choice is you have to feed him pieces of your leg. No pain medication. And you have to feed it to him to keep him alive. Do you love him that much?
I don't know if I could do that either. Unless
The dog's
it's like,
going to have to go.
unless it's like gangrenous, because this situation's already fucked. You know what I mean? Like, if I started doing that just to keep him around, I'm gonna die soon. I need all my limbs. I need everything functioning to keep myself alive. I hate to say it, but I mean, I would do my damnedest to find him some kind of nourishment, but I wouldn't start cutting myself off. Like,
He's got to go.
yeah, sad but
Here
true.
lies Sparkles.
Sad
Well,
but true,
Here's
man.
his fur. All the rest of it got eaten. Here's his
Yeah.
fur and bones. You'd be
For
like,
a while,
"No."
but
Dude, you'd
rest
be
of my
like
life.
Will Smith in that movie.
yeah, I Am Legend. Yeah,
Does he strangle his dog?
yeah, he has to
strangles
strangle-
his
yeah.
dog, right?
Imagine having to do that if your dog turned into a zombie. You could do it easy to Rosa. Well, I don't know. She's kind of squirrely.
Apocalypse hits. Who's going to get wiped out first? What mindsets, what type of people are going to survive? What people are going to be the most savage? Who gets wiped out first?
Well, I'll say this much: the people that depend the most on the government go first because.
Dude, you just went there.
Yeah, well, because
You're saying they're lazy? A lot of them?
no, because they've become accustomed to gimme. Like people that can't provide for themselves or don't know how to do life skills. I think they're going to be the ones to go first.
Let's say people who loot stores and stuff like that, right? They're like, oh, shit's going down. Let's go downtown and break windows and steal a bunch of Nike shoes and stuff like that. And there's no governmental judicial system in place anymore. It's all survival.
It's anarchy.
It's anarchy, survival of the fittest. They're all gonna get killed, right?
Well, I feel like those people and anybody that's a vegan,
Dang.
because I feel like vegans, man, like,
They're gonna get their gardens looted.
because you're not going to be a vegan anymore. Like if things fall to shit, like if the government is no longer taking care of you and there's no like, you know, way to get like your groceries and stuff anymore, and you're going to have to go and hunt for your food, you are either going to, if you're going to stick to your beliefs, you're going to die at some point. People are going to kill you.
Especially
you know what I mean?
especially if the vegans are like, let's use our words, not guns. And
Yeah.
you'd be like, I'd rather use bullets.
Yeah, you would have to switch real quick. You would have to adapt real quick. And that includes killing animals for sustenance.
How many vegans would switch to eating meat?
All of
As
them.
soon as they realize
All of them.
they no longer have the time to grow food because of the time it takes. They no longer have time to grow food. Grocery stores are looted. There's nothing there. How many are going to switch to eating meat? How many are going to die sticking to their principles?
You know what? There might be like a really, really small percentage that might die with their
They're
beliefs.
so hardcore
Like,
about
yeah,
it.
Maybe. But I'm fairly confident most of them, like, I mean, the vast avalanche of them, you know what I mean, are gonna switch back to eating meat or giving it a shot, you know, because at this point, what choice do you have? The whole gender thing is gonna be reinstated because
Some of the mindsets behind this gender stuff
it's gonna disappear. Like it's gonna go back to like our tribal ways. The whole strongest, you know, the strongest survive, and people are gonna look to the people that have strength to follow them, to be their leaders and their organizations, their little tribes and stuff. That's what I think it'll go back to.
You think some of these dudes, they're so overly concerned with everybody seeing how gay they are. They're like, hey, all this stuff. They'll switch right away. They're like, fuck that. I'm not worried about being gay right now. I gotta survive. And they just revert back to just being like some super Rambo motherfucker.
I think at some point they're gonna adapt.
That whole thing goes out the window.
Yeah. I mean, because you're gonna have to start hunting for your own food and gathering. We're gonna go back to that.
Survival takes priority over all the rest of the bullshit our society is so concerned with right now. All that stuff goes out the window,
Right.
And it's all about survival now.
Yeah, because look, this is what's gonna happen. People would start looting everything that they can get their hands on at the moment. People are gonna die along the way because it's gonna be like
Oh, it's
Black
gonna be
Friday,
a war zone.
Black Friday.
Oh, black in a
on
whole nother way.
steroids.
Yeah, and I don't mean black racial. I mean black in like darkness and
Yeah.
murder.
It's gonna get what you can get right now while it's still on the shelves.
Yeah, 100% off sale.
Yeah, and then after that, okay, well, what do we have to eat? Unless you pick up hunting, everyone's got to start moving out to the country and everything and looking for their food. Those who don't get there fast enough, they might start eating each other.
And once groups of people have looted all the stores, let's say there's thousands of groups of people and they all have their own stash, people are going to start going to war with each other.
Yeah.
These people have gasoline over here. These people have these medical equipment over here. We need to plan an ambush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to go all back to tribal.
I think special forces people in the military.
Survive? Sure.
Well, yeah. They're all going to, number one, they're all going to Delta Force, SEALs, MARSOC, all of them. They're all going to get together and be like, dude, forget about what branch we're in. We all got some skills. We're sticking together. We're all going to protect our families. We're creating our own community.
Yeah.
They have more training, land navigation, everything you need to survive a situation like that. They are going to have the greatest, and they have the medical training to survive wounds. They are going to be the tip top. They're going to remain the tip top of the spear. And then I think second in line are going to be entrepreneurs, hardcore entrepreneurs and business people who have savage fucking mindsets. They're going to be right up there with them because entrepreneurs and people like that, they do whatever it takes. They have that survival mindset already dialed in. That's how they became so successful. So I don't think they're going to have any issues.
I think if that were to happen, the people that do rise to the top, people that end up being like prison gang leaders.
Oh, yeah. Third on the list are people in prison. They're surviving in that environment. They're not going to have any problem. Some of the nerds would be wiped out unless they are protected by alpha males and alpha people because these people have the brains to help them succeed. The drug cartels employ a lot of people with engineering degrees, tunnel engineers. They employ a lot of people with master's degrees and stuff. That, of course, they threaten to kill their families and stuff. But they employ a lot of smart people because you need the brains and the brawn. The brawn protects the brains. And I think we will continue to see that pattern if an apocalypse comes. Like, man, this guy knows everything we need to know about injuries and medical and surgery. Don't let this fucking guy die. Protect this guy. Because when we get injured, we need him to patch us up.
I didn't know that about the cartel, though, but it's like, man, it's got to suck just being involved with the cartel because you know when your day comes, you're going to die in like the worst way possible. I heard this like maybe a month ago or so that I think it was the U.S. Army was going to start doing operations in Mexico, anti-cartel operations. So I don't know, maybe.
It's a very sensitive thing, though, because we're not trying to go to war with Mexico.
Yeah, just the cartels.
I don't want to get killed with hammers and nail guns and measuring tape.
Honestly, I truly feel that the only way to rid the cartel, completely kill it, is to just make drugs legal. Government, can regulate it, control it, sell it, make a profit on it, sure. If the government was able to do all that, the cartel would lose their power because the cash flow would be redirected.
So here's kind of the argument with the cartels. People are never going to stop doing drugs.
Right.
You can end all the drugs in Mexico. They're going to get it from somewhere else.
Right.
You're never going to end that. So there's no purpose of even trying to eradicate that. What you want to try to focus on is just minimize the amount of innocent people that get harmed in the process. You heard about the new generation Jalisco cartel that, remember those 3 black people, maybe it was 4? They went to Mexico a couple of months ago to get some type of cosmetic surgery thing, right? It's cheaper in Mexico. A lot of people do it. It's more common than you would think. They went down there and they got ambushed. 2 or 3 of the guys got killed. Woman got kidnapped. American citizens. It became a big deal. There was a lot of heat put on the cartels. Now all of a sudden they're in the spotlight again. It's not good for business. The leaders of the new generation Jalisco, I think it's Jalisco, the new generation cartel found out who the perpetrators were and dropped them off, tied them up, their own people, tied them up and dropped them off at a police station, I think. Dropped them off at a police station with a sign on a strap to their chest. On behalf of our organization, we want to deeply apologize for what has happened. This was a mistake. We did not order this. These were actions carried out by our people who decided they can do whatever the hell they want to do. They were not following the rules of our organization, and we are giving you the perpetrators. And they dropped their own people off in front of it, and they apologized to the families and everything. Now, I'm not for the drug cartels, but I have a certain level of respect. Even if you're committing crime, if you have a general respect for innocence in society, if you're not going to eradicate drugs, at least try to get these drug organizations on some sort of system of regard for innocent people.
Yeah, I don't know if that can happen, man. I mean, I can't believe that they actually did that. Cause
You didn't hear about that?
Because as far as I'm concerned, man, all I know from the cartel is, man, they'll put on a show. They will make an example out of you.
Yeah, it's never going to stop. I mean, unless you just, dude, you could take out every cartel member there and new people are going to pop up. Over the last 20 years ago, I think this started, cartel members started getting American women pregnant or people with American citizenships.
Oh, yeah, so
and the kids are being raised in America. So now you have cartel members that are American citizens so that they can conduct business in America. They're all coming of age now. They're all 18, 20, 22, 25. And now they have an inside person in the United States that can help them conduct business, moving shipments from Mexico to Chicago and all their hubs that they got. Now they don't have to illegally smuggle people into the country. They have people here. And it's only going to get worse. And then if they want to establish a drug hub in New Zealand, go get some New Zealand chicks pregnant, keep in touch with your kids. Now you have anywhere you want. Australia, anywhere you want.
Some heavy shit, man. It's all falling apart, baby. Well, that was a damn good show.
Damn good show.
Shout out to the Hodge twins.